Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you isn't something most men will ever hear. Most guys go through life thinking that attraction is just about looks, charm, or money. They're wrong, completely wrong. There's a hidden language, a set of subtle signals and questions that can ignite a woman's curiosity and desire in a way that nothing else can. And once you understand it, you'll notice something shocking. Women will start revealing sides of themselves to you they've never shown to anyone else. This isn't manipulation. This is psychology. This is understanding the human mind in the most intimate of ways. Here's the brutal truth. Most men fail because they never ask the right questions. They stay on the surface, talking about work, sports, or what's trending on Instagram, hoping she'll find them interesting. She won't. She needs depth. She needs challenge. She needs the subtle thrill of revealing herself to someone who understands her mind, not just her body. And that's where you step in. There's a specific type of question, carefully designed, psychologically charged, that makes a woman feel safe, curious, and excited to open up to you. When you ask it correctly, she's not just answering, she's connecting, she's imagining scenarios with you, she's letting you inside a part of her that most men never see. You may think, this sounds complicated. It's not. The complication comes from the fact that most men are insecure, unsure, and afraid of going deeper. They settle for small talk, for validation, for fleeting attention. You're going to rise above that. You're going to speak to her mind first, to her curiosity, to her emotions. Because here's the truth. Women don't resist a man who understands the intricate dance of her psychology. They respond, they reveal, they lean in. And when that happens, you'll notice the energy shift. She's engaged in a way she hasn't been in a long time. And this isn't about tricks or cheap lines. It's about understanding human connection at a level most men never attempt. Once you grasp this, you'll have conversations that spark tension, attraction, and longing, all without ever having to force anything. You'll notice subtle changes in how she looks at you, how she laughs with you, how she responds to your presence. And that's just the beginning. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to know exactly what to say, what to ask, and how to create that magnetic pull, safely, powerfully, and without the awkwardness most men endure. But first, I need you to do one thing. Hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure notifications are on. Because the insights I'm sharing today aren't just interesting, they're transformative. And if you miss what comes next, you're going to miss the single most important shift in how women respond to you. Now pay attention, because most men are blind to what I'm about to reveal. The first set of questions you ask a woman isn't just about curiosity. It's about creating an emotional ripple. You're planting seeds in her mind that awaken imagination, intrigue, and desire. And when done correctly, these questions make her lean in without realizing it, eager to share, eager to explore, eager to connect. The trick isn't in asking anything complicated. It's in asking with intention, in the right tone, at the right moment. You don't interrogate, you don't demand, you gently challenge, you spark her mind. For example, instead of the usual, "What do you do?" or "Where are you from?" question she's heard 1,000 times, you ask something like, "If you could relive one memory exactly as it happened, which one would it be?" Notice the effect. She stops, she thinks, she recalls something real, meaningful, and personal. And the moment she begins to reveal that, she's connecting with you on a level most men never reach. This is where most men fail. They never understand the emotional mechanics. Attraction isn't about being flashy or aggressive. It's about making her feel seen, understood, and mentally stimulated. The questions you ask become mirrors to her soul. She starts imagining your presence, your energy, your attention as part of her own narrative. She begins to associate you with curiosity, excitement, and even a little tension, the good kind. The kind that makes her heart rate spike subtly without her even noticing. That's chemistry. That's magnetism. That's the power you're unlocking when you speak to her mind before anything else. And here's the secret most men never realize. It isn't about how she answers the question. It's about how she feels while answering it. If she laughs a little, pauses meaningfully, or leans in, that's the signal. That's her subconscious telling you she's engaged, intrigued, and opening up. Your role is to notice, to respond naturally, and to maintain just enough mystery that she wants to continue. You don't spill everything at once. You let the tension build, piece by piece, question by question. By the end of a single conversation guided by these principles, you'll notice subtle shifts. Her tone softens, her attention sharpens, and the connection grows without force or gimmicks. Most men think attraction is immediate, but in reality, it's a slow burn. And these questions are the fuel. They're the spark. And when the moment is right, she's already halfway drawn in before you even realize it. Remember, mastery here isn't about knowing hundreds of questions. It's about asking the right ones with psychological precision. Stick with me, because soon I'm going to show you the next layer. The questions that don't just spark intrigue, but ignite longing, creating an irresistible pull that makes her think about you long after the conversation ends. Now we step into territory that most men never even recognize exists. This is the level where curiosity turns into desire, not the cheap, obvious kind, but the kind that lingers in her mind long after the conversation ends. You see, attraction isn't created by compliments, flashy gestures, or even physical presence alone. It's created when a woman feels understood, mentally stimulated, and emotionally safe to explore herself around you. And that's exactly what the right questions do. Think about it. When was the last time someone asked you a question that made your heart skip, made your mind race, and made you feel seen in a way that felt intimate, almost dangerous? Women feel that too, but only with men who know how to tap into their inner world. The trick here is to ask questions that provoke imagination. For instance, what's something you've never told anyone but have always wanted to? Or, if your life could be a story, which chapter would you be living right now? Watch how she responds. She hesitates, she pauses, she chooses her words carefully. That pause, that's the moment she's already picturing you in her mind, connecting the dots between her story and your presence. And when she answers, she's not just talking, she's revealing parts of herself she's usually guarded about. That's intimacy, that's power. Most men never learn this because they're too busy talking about themselves, trying to impress, trying to get reactions instead of creating experiences. Here's the psychological secret. Attraction isn't built on what you say. It's built on how you make her feel while she says it. Every carefully crafted question nudges her emotions in a specific direction. Curiosity, excitement, tension, and yes, anticipation. It's a dance of connection where she slowly begins to depend on your presence for that subtle thrill, for that emotional spark she didn't know she was missing. And the beauty of this? It works without pressure, without manipulation, without saying anything overtly sexual. When done right, she's drawn to you naturally, willingly, even subconsciously. She's the one imagining possibilities, thinking about interactions, wondering what you might ask next. You're guiding the conversation, but she's carrying the emotional weight, and that's where real influence lies. So, if you want to master this, you need to observe the small signs, the way her pupils dilate, how her voice changes, how she leans in or laughs softly. These are the signals that tell you you're on the right track. And remember, this isn't a one-time trick. It's a method, a skill, a mindset. When you combine it with patience, confidence, and timing, the connection you build becomes magnetic, compelling, and unforgettable. Stick with me, because in the next layer, we're going to explore the questions and subtle techniques that make her crave your presence, creating a pull that is undeniable. But again, it's psychological, not forceful. Now we enter the stage where subtle curiosity transforms into genuine desire. This is the point where most men stumble. They either push too hard or say nothing at all. But you, if you followed this path carefully, are about to discover the power of asking questions that make her feel emotionally drawn to you without ever sounding needy or desperate. It's a delicate balance, but when done correctly, it creates a magnetic tension she can't ignore. At this level, the questions you ask are no longer just about getting her to open up. They're about making her associate intensity and excitement with your presence. You might ask, if you could design a perfect day with someone who truly understands you, what would it look like? Or, when was the last time you felt completely alive? Watch carefully as she answers. These questions invite her to envision herself with you emotionally, mentally, and even imaginatively. She begins to place you in scenarios where she's comfortable, happy, and excited, all in her mind, and that mental association is far more powerful than any physical gesture. Here's where most men fail. They think desire is physical, when in reality, emotional and mental connection is the trigger. Every thoughtful question you ask, every pause you allow, every subtle acknowledgement of her answer builds tension, excitement, and a sense of intimacy. She starts to feel like you're the only one capable of truly understanding her. That feeling, that emotional spark, is addictive. And when she experiences it, she unconsciously seeks more of it. She starts thinking about you, anticipating your next move, and subconsciously wondering how she can spend more time in that energy with you. The psychological mechanism behind this is simple but profound. Humans are drawn to those who stimulate their mind and validate their feelings. When you ask the right questions, you trigger both. She feels seen, she feels safe, and she feels intrigued. That combination is irresistible. And unlike shallow flirting or empty compliments, this builds lasting magnetic attraction because it's rooted in her own mind and emotions. Pay attention to the subtleties, the tone of her voice, the length of her responses, the energy she brings into the conversation. These are your signals. They tell you when to dive deeper, when to tease lightly, and when to simply hold the space and let the connection grow. At this stage, you're not just talking. You're creating an experience that she subconsciously remembers, that she mentally revisits, that she can't wait to continue. Stick with me, because the next stage is where the questions become even more powerful. They create anticipation and longing that draws her closer to you, naturally, willingly, and irresistibly. This is the point where the connection transforms into attraction that lingers long after the conversation ends. This is where most men lose control without even realizing it. They either over-explain, rush things, or settle for casual small talk. But if you've been following carefully, you're entering the stage where the questions you ask are no longer just about understanding her. They're about creating a pull that she feels deep in her body and mind. It's subtle, it's psychological, and it's powerful. The key here is anticipation. You're no longer just asking questions. You're planting ideas, feelings, and scenarios that she begins to associate with you. You might ask, what's one thing you've always imagined but never tried? Or, if someone really knew you, what would they see that surprises them? Notice how these questions leave room for imagination. She's thinking not just about the answer, but about how it would feel to share it with you. That is the invisible tension that creates longing. She begins to crave the connection because it's uniquely stimulating and only you provide it. At this stage, the emotional rhythm matters more than the words themselves. Listen carefully to her energy. When she pauses thoughtfully, laughs softly, or slightly leans in, she's signaling that she's invested. She's picturing herself in the world you're guiding her toward. That's the moment to maintain calm confidence, to avoid over-explaining, and to let the tension build naturally. You're creating a psychological space where she wants more, thinks about you when you're gone, and feels subtly drawn to continue the interaction. Here's the most important thing. You're not trying to force attraction. You're crafting an experience of curiosity, excitement, and emotional intensity. You're giving her a reason to think of you in ways she hasn't thought of anyone else. That's what makes the connection magnetic. A single question delivered with intention can leave her thinking about you for hours, replaying your words, and imagining scenarios where she's closer to you, emotionally and mentally. And the beauty of this technique is that it's completely natural. You're not being manipulative. You're simply understanding female psychology better than most men ever will. By creating anticipation, subtle tension, and mental engagement, you become someone she wants to spend time with, someone she mentally returns to, someone she notices above the rest. That is the power of asking the right questions at the right time. Stick with me, because next we move into the stage where these questions trigger deep emotional connection, making her feel understood and safe, but simultaneously intrigued and drawn in ways most men can only dream of mastering. Now we reach a level where most men completely fail because they confuse attention with connection. You're no longer asking questions just to pass time or to appear interested. You're asking questions that make her feel truly understood, that make her heart open in subtle but undeniable ways. And here's the thing, when a woman feels deeply seen by a man, Her curiosity and desire grow naturally, almost unconsciously. These questions are about her inner world, not her outward appearance. You might ask, what's something you feel everyone misunderstands about you? Or, when do you feel most alive, and why? Notice what happens when you ask with genuine interest. She pauses, she reflects, she leans in mentally, and she starts sharing pieces of herself she rarely gives away. That vulnerability is magnetic. It's the secret language of attraction most men never learn. And it works precisely because it's rare. Here's the subtle magic. You're creating a space where she feels safe, yet stimulated. Safe enough to reveal herself, and stimulated enough to be excited to do it with you, not anyone else. That combination triggers a psychological response that keeps her thinking about you long after the conversation ends. It's why some men leave impressions that fade instantly, while others create lingering fascination. You are learning to be the latter. Every question, every pause, every carefully timed acknowledgement builds a bridge from curiosity to connection. She begins to associate her emotional highs with your presence, her laughter with your energy, and her introspection with your attention. And because humans are wired to return to what makes them feel understood and alive, she starts seeking it subconsciously. She doesn't even realize she's being drawn in. She just knows she wants more. This is the stage where true influence begins. When she feels you understand her mind and appreciate her depth, she begins to trust you on levels most men never achieve. She shares stories she hasn't shared before. She jokes differently. She teases lightly. She invests energy in the interaction, and all of this is before anything physical ever happens. That's the power of asking the right questions at the right moment. It creates an invisible pull, a gravitational force of emotional and mental connection that leaves her fascinated and engaged. This is where it all comes together. By now, you've learned how to spark curiosity, create emotional tension, build anticipation, and establish deep psychological connection. But mastery isn't just about asking questions. It's about how you carry yourself in the space between the words. The pauses, the tone, the subtle confidence you radiate while listening carefully. This is what makes everything you've done irresistible. Think of it like a rhythm. You ask, she responds, you observe, you acknowledge, and then you create just enough mystery to leave her wanting more. The secret isn't in pushing or forcing her attention, it's in guiding it. Each question, each subtle nudge of curiosity, each carefully timed pause shapes her perception of you. She begins to associate your presence with excitement, intrigue, and emotional safety all at once. That is magnetic. That is rare. That is powerful. At this stage, she's thinking about you even when you're not around. Her mind replays your conversations, your questions, the way you made her feel, understood, yet curious. She's imagining future interactions, scenarios where she's revealing herself to you, connecting with you, and seeking that emotional spark again. And here's the truth most men never realize. She's doing the work herself. You simply set the stage. You created the conditions. You guided the interaction. And because it feels natural, she doesn't even notice she's being drawn closer. It's subconscious, inevitable, and utterly compelling. This is the power of asking the right questions with the right intention. It's the combination of psychology, empathy, and timing. It's subtle, yet when executed correctly, it transforms casual conversation into a magnetic, emotional experience. You've learned to spark intrigue, build tension, and connect on a level that most men only dream about. The final step is simple. Maintain your calm, confident presence, continue to listen actively, and let her curiosity and attraction grow naturally. Remember, this isn't manipulation. This is understanding human psychology at a level most men never attempt. It's about creating experiences she will remember, feelings she will revisit, and curiosity she will carry long after you leave. The right questions, delivered with timing, confidence, and subtlety, turn ordinary interactions into extraordinary connection. And that, my friend, is the kind of attraction that lasts, the kind that is irresistible, and the kind that she subconsciously craves. Take this knowledge, practice it, watch how her energy shifts, watch how she opens up, laughs differently, and leans in emotionally. Because once you master this, you're no longer just another man in her life. You become the man who makes her mind and heart come alive, naturally, effortlessly, and memorably.